for 10 of them, it was great, equal to or greater than 50 below. And we had one morning and we were staying at the Hilton there, and you came out, and as only you could, if you've never gone through it, you don't understand when you look out and 95% of the cars are plugged in with block heaters, right? And they still didn't start. And so that was just a little bit of an education on how it can be up there. And Bemidji's, you just kind of draw a line. It's that far north. So.
We're ready for real now.
Okay. What's your message to your group this week to kind of, you have to keep them doing what they need to do and not get distracted by whatever else is out there,
Yeah.
positive and negatives.
Right. You know what? You learn a lot in life through peaks. I've definitely learned a lot through the valleys, and stay consistent on what we ask them to do as far as looking out the front window, because that's what we get to control. This group, from the beginning of the year when we struggled, and when we're struggling right now, have done a really good job of staying on it. Now, that's going to be tested from here on out. And so I expect our leadership group to continue to do what they've been doing. I believe that they will do that. And then really some fine tuning. We've done a lot of good things defensively at not giving up a lot, but we need to give our goaltenders some support. Our power play has to get back to being productive. We've got to score more than 1 or 2 5-on-5 goals if we're not scoring on the power play. We're asking our goaltending, I think, to be close to perfect. And that's hard to do at this time of the year. So for us, it's our dailies. We're not going to change that, and really just stay on it. And the guys have been good this week.
Do you feel like you're seeing similarities from that first 10-game stretch of the season to the last 10-game stretch and the most recent one here, and that the underlying numbers make it look like you should be doing pretty well, but the results just aren't there? Is it a little bit of the same from what you're seeing, I guess, visually?
On tape, practice at times, and again, part of this is just understanding how hard it is at this time of the year to score. You look at teams throughout our league and throughout the country, you're not seeing those, 6-2. They're 1-goal games. And so for us, if you look at the entirety of the games this week and the entirety of the stretch that we've been going through, there's small things that make a difference. So that replicates what happened earlier in the year, because we had the puck the majority of the time and we still weren't getting the results that we needed to get. So yes, there are some similarities there, but to me, it's about us finding a way to have another goal and a half. Then I think the difference in wins and losses come. It's that fine line at this time of the year. And so we've tried to show them some of the positives that they have had. But again, at the end of the day, we're in a results-based business. There's a score for us, a score for them at the end of the game. It hasn't been enough for us to be able to get on that winning side of the ledger, and that has to change.
We're celebrating your senior classes this weekend. What do you think that this group is going to be remembered for, or what do you want them to be remembered for?
Well, this is the second year that I've had an opportunity to be around them. If there's one thing that resonates in my mind, going all the way back to the first time that I met them, to where we're at right now, is the quality of human being that we're talking about. A couple that come to mind right away, Anthony Kerr, Owen Lindmark. Now again, I know those guys have gone through this before, because you're talking about the guys that have been here the longest. There's one thing I hope their families feel when they're here to watch them be honored, that they feel the same way we feel, that they have represented their families and our university in a very, very special way. They come to work every day. They do what you ask of them. They care for others. They've been phenomenal teammates, even when things haven't gone perfect for them. And that lasts a lifetime. You know, I do think you find out a lot about somebody in time of struggles, and those guys have been the ones that we've leaned on as we've gone through the struggles that we have this year, and I just think they're real quality human beings.
Do you maybe tell them to soak this weekend in? I mean, obviously there's a game to play, but this is the last time that they get to play in front of their fans, and maybe take a little extra second or two, whether it's a pregame skate or, you know, I don't want to say during the timeout, but just to kind of soak everything off.
Yeah, you know, that group, and we've got some that are new, that this is the 1 year that they've been here. And then, as we've spoke about the other two, we've been talking about this for a bit. It didn't just come up this week. If we want to honor those guys in the best way that we possibly can, it's to stay with them for as long as we can. And so that's to make sure that we play as deep into the season as possible. That's the best way to honor and show that group how we feel about them, right? Because that gives us another practice, another opportunity to be in the locker room with them. And so that's been something that has been discussed and will continue to be discussed. They're okay talking about it because these guys are a special group and they're a big part of us. And I do believe there's a belief in that locker room that if we do what we're capable of doing, we can have those guys be around as long as possible.
Kind of conversations that we've had with the goalies about, like, look, this is where we're at, this is what we're at. Have you had those kind of like, look, you know, everyone wants to know where they stand, and I'm sure there's been some questions.
Had those conversations, continuing to have those conversations, you know, and also being honest that trying to take that microscope off them a little bit on the idea of we've had multiple times where they've done their job, we haven't done ours, and it has nothing to do with them stopping a puck, right? And so this is a we game. At the end of the day, they don't call it goaltender. It's hockey. You know, we've got to do a lot of things to help them out. We can do a lot better job. You know, us taking speed away from a forward that comes down and has the ability to get from one side of the net all the way to the other side of the net without being impeded. We can help with that. And so, yeah, we've had those conversations too on the idea of everybody's got to take a piece of this and own it, all of us. And if we do that, we all climb that mountain a little steeper, a little quicker, we'll be in a better position once Friday comes around.
I don't know if there's, with what Blotchuk's dealing with, if there's any kind of timeline you can put on that, or if it's just when he feels better. So, but do you know anything about what he might have this weekend? Or?
I haven't talked to Rhodes since we got off, and it's progressing well. But when it comes to upper body injuries, the way that this is, you kind of take it hour by hour and day by day. But it's progressing in a really good spot right now, and hopefully there's no setbacks. If there is, he won't be available. If there isn't, I think there's a good chance of him playing.
And Laskowski obviously had when he played and then didn't play, like that seemed like that was a setback for him. Was it the same thing, he just couldn't go again, and does that stretch out longer now that he might be out for the rest of this? Or?
I think we learned a little bit from the experience that he went through, and we're trying to manage that. We know this weekend there were incredibly important games, but our season's not over after Saturday. So we're trying to do everything that we can to make sure all the athletes are in the best spot that they can be, to make sure that once they get back and play, that we're not going backwards. That if something was to happen, it's something that isn't pertaining to what had happened previously.
Mike, I know you've spoken about Gavin quite a bit, but he's having one of the better freshman seasons that Wisconsin hockey's seen in a while. Did you expect him to perform the way he has performed this season? Did you expect him to play the amount of minutes and meaningful minutes that he has played this season?
To be completely honest with that, we had him penciled in as our third line center. He might be leading our team in minutes. Was hoping he'd be able to come in and develop into somebody that could play in special teams. And he's done all of it. He's done it with, I think, about his least amount of bumps in the road. Nobody's harder on Gavin Morrissey than Gavin Morrissey. He does a great job of self-evaluation. He's a really good teammate. He's somebody you like running into every day at the rink. I don't believe as a coaching staff we could have a greater expectation for Gavin Morrissey than what Gavin has for himself. And so, to me, he's a special player, really good human being. And I'm excited for what he has in front of him. Now, with that being said, he wants to get back to contributing offensively. That's Gavin. He's the one that's nitpicking at his game. But he's had a special season. We need him to have that finish for himself first, and definitely for our team. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.